Letting go of people can be one of the hardest things you'll ever do. You've invested so much in these relationships, time, love, effort, that the idea of parting ways seems almost impossible. The memories of all those moments shared, the sacrifices made, and the deep bond created make it tough to believe that it's time to move on. It feels like your heart is breaking, and the future without them seems uncertain and daunting. Yet, sometimes, you get strong sense that it's what needs to happen. There's an overwhelming feeling that perhaps God is guiding you to let go, even when it doesn't make sense. You start to question everything. Why is this happening? Why should you be separated from someone who means so much to you? It's hard to see the bigger picture when you're in the midst of such emotional turmoil. The simple truth is, God knows more than you do. It's a hard pill to swallow, but His wisdom surpasses your understanding. When He removes someone from your life, it's often for a reason you can't see yet. It might be painful now, but there's a purpose behind it. Holding on might feel like the right thing to do, but sometimes letting go is what you truly need. Think about it. There might have been times when you felt a strong urge to end a relationship, even if everything seemed fine on the surface. Or perhaps a close friend started to drift away and you couldn't understand why. You tried to keep the relationship alive, asking questions, seeking clarity, hoping things would go back to how they were. But deep down, you felt a nudge in your spirit telling you to let go. It's like when Moses had to leave his father-in-law, Jethro. They had a deep, long-standing relationship. But when God called Moses for a greater purpose, he had to move on. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Sometimes, God's plan requires you to leave behind even the most cherished relationships. Look at your life closely. Are there people you're struggling to let go of? Do you feel like something is telling you it's time to move on, even if you don't understand why? This might be God's way of guiding you towards your true path. It's not about rejecting those people. It's about embracing what's meant for you. Relationships are vital, but not all are meant to last forever. Some people are in your life for a season, to teach you something or to support you through a particular time. When their role in your life is complete, it's okay to let them go. Holding on too tightly can hold you back from what's ahead. Remember, not everyone in your life is crucial for your destiny. Some relationships might be pulling you back, even if you can't see it. God sees the bigger picture, and sometimes He steps in to prevent you from going down the wrong path. Trusting His wisdom, even when it's hard, is essential for your growth. When you feel that divine nudge, listen to it. Letting go might be difficult, but it's often necessary for your spiritual and personal growth. Embrace the change, trust in God's plan, and believe that letting go is just a step towards a greater purpose in your life. Imagine you're on a journey, much like Abraham was when he set out for the Promised Land. God promised him a land flowing with milk and honey, a place of prosperity and blessing. You too might feel like you're headed towards a promise, something great that God has in store for you. But along the way, there can be complications, just like Abraham faced when he and Lot started to have conflicts because their herdsmen couldn't get along. Think about Abraham's decision to let Lot choose his own path. It wasn't easy for Abraham. They were family, after all. But Abraham knew that for peace to reign, they needed to part ways. So he allowed Lot to go his own way, which eventually led Lot towards the fertile plains of Jordan near Sodom and Gomorrah. This separation might have seemed tough at the time, but it was necessary. After Lot had gone, something incredible happened. The book of Genesis, chapter 13, verses 14 to 17 tells us, "The Lord said to Abram after Lot had parted from him, 'Look around from where you are to the north and south, to the east and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. Go, walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you.'" Suddenly, Abraham received a renewed promise, a clearer vision of what was ahead. It's as if God was waiting for this moment of obedience to unfold more of his plan. Now, apply this to your life. Maybe there's someone or something like Lot in your journey. Their presence might be preventing you from hearing what God has next for you. It's tough, isn't it? To think that letting go could actually lead to something greater. But what if God is waiting for you to make that tough decision? What if your next big step in life can only happen once you've made some space? Let's face it, holding on to relationships and situations that God is asking us to release can hold us back. It's not just about making physical room, it's about making spiritual room too. When Abraham let go of Lot, he wasn't just parting ways with a relative. He was trusting God's plan over his own comfort. And that's what faith is about. Trusting God even when it's hard, even when it hurts. Now, consider your own life. Are there relationships or commitments that feel like they're more about conflict than about companionship? Are they keeping you from moving forward? It might be time to think about letting go. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're putting your trust in something greater than what you can see right now. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 15 says, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing." This wisdom reminds us that not every relationship is meant to last forever. Some are for a season, and when that season is over, it's okay. It's part of life's cycle. This is not just about ending relationships. It's about understanding God's timing. When God says it's time to stop embracing, it's important to listen. How long someone has been in your life doesn't necessarily equate to how long they should remain. The impact of missing out on God's will because of our reluctance to let go can be far greater than we might imagine. So take a moment to reflect. Look at your life, your relationships, your path. Ask yourself if you're holding on to something that God is asking you to let go. Trust that He sees the big picture. Trust that what comes after letting go could be bigger and more aligned with your purpose than you ever imagined. Again, letting go isn't just about loss. It's about making room for new growth, new blessings, and new opportunities. It's about walking the path that God has laid out for you, just like Abraham did. And remember, it comes with a promise of peace and fulfillment in ways you might not yet see. Sometimes in life, just like in the story of David and Jonathan, you might find yourself in a friendship that means the world to you. Jonathan loved David as he loved himself, which the Bible records clearly in 1 Samuel 18 verse 1, where it says, "Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself." This shows the depth of their bond, a friendship so profound that it's celebrated through the ages. But there comes a time, as it did for David and Jonathan, when paths diverge. Jonathan had to let David go for the greater good, even though it must have been hard for both of them. This parting was crucial for David's survival and future as a king. It's an important lesson that sometimes even the closest relationships can hold us back from our destiny if they're not meant to continue into our next chapter. When David was on the run and hiding, God brought the right people into his life. Those 400 men who were distressed, in debt, or discontented. They gathered around David in the cave of Adullam as recorded in 1 Samuel 22. These men, unlikely as they seemed for the task, were exactly who David needed to begin his reign. This tells you something significant. God knows whom you need in your life and when. This part of your journey might feel lonely or confusing. You might wonder why God would remove someone you care so deeply about. But remember, God sees the whole picture. He knows the hearts of those around you. The scripture warns about toxic individuals, those who love you with their mouths but not their souls. Such people might appear supportive but secretly wish your downfall. God's protective nature is highlighted in these situations. As it says in Exodus 20, verses 3 to 5, "You shall have no other gods before me, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God." This commandment isn't just about idols made of stone or wood. It's also about anything or anyone that takes his place in your heart, including relationships that may lead you away from depending on him. Letting go of such relationships allows God to bring the right people into your life, people who are aligned with his purposes for you. Just as he brought those 400 men to David, he can bring individuals into your life who will stand by you, not just in good times, but in challenging ones as well. When God removes someone, it's not to punish you, but to protect you, to prepare you for what's ahead. It might be hard to see it at the moment, but looking back, you'll often see the wisdom in his timing. It's about trusting that he knows better, and that his plans for you are for your good. So when you find yourself having to let go of someone, do it with a heart free of bitterness. Holding on to anger or sadness only weighs you down. Instead, look forward with hope, knowing that God's plans for you include bringing the right people into your life at the right time. And as you move forward, keep your eyes open and your spirit attentive. Be ready to welcome new relationships that God brings your way. Remember, Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1 says, "There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens." This includes the people in your life. Again, some are there for a season, and when that season is over, it's time to let them go, with gratitude for the role they played. Lastly, always pray and trust that God will lead you to the right people at the right time. Reflect on the reasons why some relationships had to end. Maybe God wants you to focus more on him during this season. Understanding why people leave can help you align more closely with God's will and ensure that all things work together for your good.